Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another amazing week of Case Files with Kat.
And Ashley.
Happy 7th anniversary,
Yes.
Ash.
My gosh.
Oh my God. Can you believe it?
No, I don't think anyone else can. But we're here.
Oh, God.
We're excited.
We're still here, bitches. No, okay. Just kidding. Yeah, wow. 7 years ago, I'm just gonna
Go
take,
for it.
a point of privilege. But I called you one day and was like, "Hey, we're gonna have a podcast. We start on Tuesday." It was
I'm pretty sure it was Monday. By the way, we're starting tomorrow.
or it was Thursday or whatever.
Yeah, we recorded on Thursdays, and I think you told me on a Wednesday.
I think
Or maybe a little before that, because we went to the And That's Why We Drink live show right before we started our first episode.
like, we can do this.
Yeah, totally fine. You got this.
And here we are. We're just as put together now as we were then.
Well, I have to say, I think we're way more put together than our first season, which is why no one can find our first season.
That's funny. That's funny.
But I do think we're much more refined now.
I don't know. Maybe we're not as drunk starting the show.
There's no one laughing in the background. There's no ads going on.
There's no ads. Yeah.
We have more than 45 minutes to tell a story.
Much to our listeners' dismay sometimes, I'm sure. So anyway, here's to
Yes,
to
cheers.
7 years. Cheers to 7 years. You have to drink or it's bad luck.
I know, I'm drinking.
All right. Okay, so what's new with you?
Not a whole lot. What did you do for Valentine's Day?
Jason and I took the kids to go see a play, a musical.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you get caught in the tornadoes?
We got there just as they were saying get indoors.
Was it in Houston?
It was just right here, Clear Lake. Yeah.
I was in Houston. And I was like, you know what? They said it was going to rain, but it doesn't look that bad. And then as I'm walking back to the car, it starts pouring down rain.
Did you not get an alert?
I got the alert when I was back in my car. And then it was like, tornado warnings. You should be indoors. And I'm like, I'm on the middle of 45, heading home. My poor doggies at home. Anyways.
Probably so freaked out. But like literally it was like, at first it was just like tornado watch. And then I was like, tornado, get inside, get into your basement. And I'm like, this is Houston. We don't have basements.
What great weather for Valentine's Day. This is perfect.
Isn't it romantic? Yeah.
The universe does so well.
So then we show up to the theater and it's at the Jetpack, which is where, that's where we all do theater there. And there's just a lot of neurodivergent, neurospicy kiddos. And they all got that alert on their phones. And so we walked in to just children crying, freaked out, so much anxiety right before.
I mean, I can understand that.
They go on stage. Yeah.
People here aren't used to tornadoes, so I could see that. I'm from somewhere that got tornadoes.
And they all got that get to a basement.
Isn't it interesting that tornadoes freak them out, but hurricanes, they throw parties and stuff? Like, I just find it so bizarre.
Mardi Gras kept going.
I saw that.
Which I think is really irresponsible.
But at the same time, right? Like, I thought that. And then I was like, but if they told those people the amount of mass panic and then them trying to get out of there all in their cars and stuff.
But they all got the alert.
But do you think they were paying attention to it?
Maybe not. But there was lightning.
I just feel like it would have cost. I mean, I get it. Like, if there was a tornado, like, definitely heading towards Galveston. But I feel like telling them would have caused so much chaos, all of those, because I went to Mardi Gras the first weekend and there were so many people, and just thinking of trying to get those many people off of the street into vehicles out of a tornado,
just party on.
I just feel like at least if they die, they died happy, I guess. I don't know. what to say. It's horrible, but like, I don't know what they would have done because there's hundreds and thousands of people that come through Mardi Gras.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. I mean, where were they going to go? Might as well just drink and party.
But anyways, yeah, that was fun. On the way here, I was late because I got stuck because there was 4 ducks crossing the street. One of them was very slow.
Aww.
He was very far behind the other 3, but traffic stopped him both ways. So that's
usually people get out and go.
Oh no, they were filming.
Oh, okay.
They were filming the ducks, but yeah, they were crossing the street to be with their little duck family, I guess.
Oh.
Anyways,
they're very nice. Well, all right.
That's all the.
Wow, our conversations sure are different after 7 years.
I mean, I don't know what to talk about. Okay, I'm boring. I don't do anything. The ducks were the most exciting thing that's happened to me besides a tornado on Valentine's Day.
This is just showing how grown up we are. That's it. We're so grown up.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm gonna get going.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm just so excited about it now. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a story that was recommended to us by our beautiful friend Cindy. And she's got like about a degree of separation from this story. So I guess we're like 2 degrees now, I guess, away from her. And from the woman that we're talking about anyway. And that woman's name is Brenda Andrew.
Oh.
This is...
Are you okay?
Sorry, my hips are just bad. Okay, so that woman's Brenda Andrew, and she is the only woman on death row in Oklahoma.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So it's a story. It's definitely a story. So before we get into the affair and then the murder and then the trial and I know. I mean, we all know why we're here, people. It's in the title, I'm pretty sure. And then into the courtroom drama and the legal controversy, because that exists. Before we get into all of that, I want to talk about the victim. Let's start with him.
Okay. Because
I feel like he certainly gets lost in this in the shuffle. So Rob Andrew was a father. He was a husband. He was a son. He was a brother, one of 4 brothers. He was a friend, a best friend, a man whose life centered around his kids and his faith. And however this case gets debated, however people feel about Brenda or the courts or the system or her defense, Rob is the person who lost everything. And I know that there are people out there fighting to get Brenda out of jail even now.
Oh.
But I feel that what gets lost is that Rob lost his life. He was killed in his own home while his children were upstairs. Those kids lost their father, and that matters.
Yeah.
All before the holidays. It's a fucking shame. So as we walk through the story and we talk about Brenda and we talk about the investigation, we can talk about the trial, but Rob is the reason that this case even exists at all. So just wanted to make sure that isn't lost, because we are going to talk about the controversy, probably quite a bit, knowing us. Okay, so who were Rob and Brenda? They weren't just a headline, I guess. That's not how it started. They started out as 2 young people from very similar backgrounds, well-to-do families in Enid, Oklahoma. Around those parts, about like an hour and a half away from Oklahoma City. Like it's not, it's not a big state, not like Texas, but still it's not small either. Yeah. Both of them grew up in the Lutheran church, and Rob's home was very faith-centered. I think that they both came from very similar backgrounds. Church was a huge part of who he was. It shaped his values, his sense of responsibility, and how he approached family life. As an adult, he stayed completely very devout to his faith. In fact, I think his faith grew as he became... as he was more and more successful in his job, but also as he started to feel like the the conflict in his marriage, or I guess the like sort of the disintegration of his marriage. He felt like he couldn't give his wife what it was that she wanted, or he wasn't like living up to and so he really like leaned into his faith and met with his pastor, and even took on a deacon role in the church, and just really like he became even more devout.
That says a lot about him, that he took the blame for his wife cheating on him. I mean, I feel like
we haven't gotten into that part yet.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, to be like, oh, it must be my fault that she's doing, like, that's just
rather than like, that even to like the very end, he left a voicemail like, I just love that girl, like he just it was just who he was. He was just a good dude. He looked a lot like John Ritter.
Oh wow.
So if you look him up, like I was like, wow, it looks like John Ritter's brother.
Oh wow.
Is really what he looks like. Anyway, he worked in advertising. He was really, really, really creative. Like even as a kid, he would like take like candy wrappers and have them on his walls and try to come up with slogans for them. Like he was just a really creative dude, and he had that kind of personality. When I heard him described, it made me think of the Wizard, just somebody who like everybody kind of gets along with. He's funny, he's smart, he's creative, just like everybody liked him. And because of that, and because he was like that charismatic, like that, it made him even better at advertising, so like he could really like get what his clients were looking for. He was a devoted dad. And in every interview people would that the police did, you would hear devoted dad, amazing husband, blah 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 blah, like he was a great boss, he was a good employee, he believed in persistence. I heard in and I'm gonna plug her, and I'm probably gonna plug her quite a bit. There's a true crime. I don't have my phone with me. True Crime with Kimber, or what is that? Yeah, that's right. True Crime with Kimber. The Heartbreaking Andrew Family Murder, Robert and Brenda Andrew. It's a 2-part series. It came out, it's on YouTube. It came out in December, but she really gets into how he got his job and how like persistent he was, and he would call. They were living in Texas at the time, and he kept calling. He was like, I want to go back to Oklahoma. And there's this advertising agency that he really wanted to work for. And so he kept calling and calling and calling. It took 2 years, but his persistence paid off. And one of the books that he kept in, aside from the Bible, that he kept in his desk drawer was Green Eggs and Ham, because through persistence, he got somebody to like green eggs and ham, right? It always works. And that was just like the way that he was. He was a very, very present father. He showed up. He was involved in family activities, and he was involved in their routines. It wasn't just like a job. It was like who he was, which is just a great thing. And because I am a lover of dad jokes, truly, this is 100% the best example of somebody who just like lived dad jokes. So they had 2 children. And at the time, it was a daughter and a son. At the time that he died, their daughter Tricity was 11 and Parker was 7. But before they had Tricity, that he had made a joke, if her name is Tricity, not Trinity, with a C, not an N. When she got older and she ran for office, she would have those signs that say electricity.
It's pretty funny.
Don't shoot the messenger. I fucking love that joke.
That is very funny. And then the fact that they still named her that was great.
I know, because I'm sure they were like, oh, I've never heard of that.
I'm sure the wife was like, God damn it. But then she went with it. So he must have been very great at his job.
That's what I'm saying. But electress. I wonder if she ever is going to run for office. I just love it. I love it. If she hasn't changed her name. I love dad jokes. That's it. So, I mean, but doesn't that just make you love him more? Like, that's the kind of dude he was. So friends described him as gentle and affectionate, somebody who wanted stability for his family and worked hard to provide it. They both grew up with a mother who stayed at home. So it was just sort of like, even though she was in finance, it was sort of like when he got to the point where he was making enough money for them to live comfortably on just his salary, and they had a kid, and it just was like that next obvious step for them. Yeah. And so she turned in her 9 to 5 and became a stay-at-home mom. And, that probably was part of where things went wrong. Like, she was at home with the kids, but she stayed very active and think of like the country club neighborhoods, right? Yeah. So there was always something in the neighborhood happening. You go to the country club and it wasn't super bougie. That's not where they lived. It was a nice home. But it was, they had a place for people to still, the moms got together, and then they had church, and then she taught Sunday school sometimes. And so there was a church friends and that social circle. And then it was his colleagues and his friends from work. There was that social circle. So there was, and then their family, they were living in Oklahoma, and the family was there. She had a social circle, but she wasn't, so she's, she was able to stay fit, stay active. She was, so she was very, 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 she was very pretty. I haven't seen a whole lot of pictures of her where I've been like, oh wow, she is a stunner. I think she's just like an average looking person who just dressed great, or did her hair perfect, or, I think that she just like kind of gave off this, an air of confidence. Yeah. She was very flirty, which, comes out in the investigation, but we'll get to that, I'm sure. We'll get to that. Brenda also, like I said, grew up in Oklahoma and came from a religious background. She was a little bit more of a, kind of like the preacher's daughter kind of family. Like her mom even worked at the church that they went to. So they were, yes, religion was very important to them, but then it just also became like not just important to them, but it was their mom's livelihood. So I'm sure that my daughter will not be wearing that. So, she was very modestly dressed. She played the trumpet and twirled the baton, and then she went straight home after those football games. She didn't go out partying because she didn't drink, So, I mean, there was probably a little bit stricter. Yeah. We can all imagine kind of, probably a little uptight in that household. Yeah. They had a reputation to uphold. And so that's sort of the background that she grew up in. But they met, she was 19, he was already in college, and they started dating, and then he was wild about her right away, and they eventually got married. They got married in the mid 1980s, and then they went marriage, children, church, community, right? They eventually had 2 kids, like I said, a daughter and a son, Tricity and Parker, and then they settled into life in Oklahoma City. And so from the outside, they looked like this very happy, very typical church-going family. Yeah. Just like men wanted his life, Yeah. Women thought it was such a great marriage. It was, oh, you must be so proud, But over time, things started to change. And some people later said the marriage always had tension under the surface. I think that it was his best friend, Ron, who said that it was like even on their wedding night, she said she hated him. Wow. but who knows? Others said it didn't start to break down until years later. So sometime in her 40s, she started having affairs. But who knows if that's really when they started. His parents don't think that she was ever faithful to him. So there's that.
Yeah.
But by the late 1990s, though, the cracks were obvious. There was an emotional distance or stress, the financial pressure at times, there were arguments. And I think that like some of that is normal. I think that there's a point maybe in some marriages, and maybe all of them. I don't know. I haven't been married quite that long, I guess. But maybe like you get into a rut, or you're so busy that you're like two ships passing in the night, and maybe there's just distance, and there's not like, maybe both parties aren't putting in the same amount of effort to make sure that there's still connection.
Yeah.
Right. Or, just things happen, life happens. And maybe it was nobody's fault, it just happened. People grow apart, people grow up.
Yeah.
So like,
and some people are just shitty.
And then some people are just shitty. Yes. But Rob seemed to focus on, like I said, holding the family together and, looking inward at his own part and maybe the distance that was growing between the two of them. And, I was actually listening to a book that my therapist has me reading, and it's called The Happiness Trap. And one of the things he's like, you have to practice everything, and so everything in the book, you have to practice. If you want to be good at anything, you have to practice it all the time. You have to be intentional. And that is even like something like making love, like being a partner, like you have to practice it. If you just kind of like phone it in, it's not, if you're just kind of like taking one for the team or whatever, like, let me just get this over with. Like, there is going to be distance that's created, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's what he was trying to do. I think he was trying to be intentional about being a good lover, a good spouse, and I think he was trying to do that. I don't know that was the same on her side.
Yeah.
So, Brenda seemed just kind of just hell-bent on just pulling away. And then church, what had at once been like their foundation, became the place where everything started to shift. And this is where James Pravat enters. Oh. James Pravat. So through their church, they both meet James Pravat. He wasn't a stranger. He was someone both of them knew, someone who they trusted, someone who became a part of their circle. He was an insurance agent. And he and Rob developed a friendship, and he helped Rob with insurance matters, including setting up a large life insurance policy that was worth $800,000.
You could just stop your story here. We all know where this is going.
And we'll see you next week, everybody. I wonder, like, if that, I mean, yes.
I mean, you don't find it a little convenient?
I mean, it's 100% convenient. So, like, yeah, they mean, like, oh, maybe don't have, I don't know. I don't have advice. Okay. So, $800,000. Brenda was listed as the beneficiary. We all knew that. And at the same time, Brenda and James were spending a lot of time together because they both taught Sunday school. And so they were often around each other. And then at some point, that relationship crossed a line into an affair. And by 2001, Rob and Brenda's marriage was in serious doo-doo. They filed for divorce. He actually told his friend Ron, well, she found someone to kill me.
Wow. Did he
I think
physically mean?
I think he meant that as a really sick joke. But I think that based on some of his other comments, I do feel like he had maybe a weird inkling of that being true.
I mean, she's having an affair with the person who set up your life insurance policy.
Yes.
Because I assume he knew who she was having the affair with, right, or no?
Yeah, well, yes, because they kind of at the end, yes, it was it was like
I would be very worried
parading it in front of him a little bit. I would be worried. I think he loved her so much that he could not imagine that it being the truth. If that makes sense. I mean, you don't
like he didn't want to believe it to be true.
Right. I think it was like, ha ha ha, it's a joke, but then there's some truth to that. Okay. So they filed for divorce. And that was the moment that was a real turning point. So a long marriage under pressure, 2 kids are in the middle, a new relationship is formed. There's the financial safety net here hanging out in the background, and the custody battle is heating up, and there's just a lot of it is contentious. There's just a lot of animosity. There's already like a separation that's building, and they've got these families that they need to keep to, there has to be some peace.
Yeah.
He has to be able to pick up his kids for holidays. He has to be able, and he's not the one who's giving any pushback. He's not that one.
Yeah.
She's the one who's like, you can't come in, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in this case, prosecutors later said, all of that was building just led somewhere much, much darker. And I want to say just a little bit more about him as a father, because of how all of this happened. And I said he was a very devoted father. He was a very present father. He was the kind who showed up, who paid attention. He cared about those everyday moments, right? Friends and family said one of the things that hurt him the most during the divorce was the fear of losing time with the kids.
So sad.
He wanted to be there for them, and he wanted to raise them, and he wanted to watch them grow up, right? And that's one of the hardest parts of this story. The day before he was killed, he got a call from Tricity, and she wanted him to come over, and she had been wanting a puppy, and so he had called her. She had called him over to come and see the puppy. And so when he showed up, he had his friend, because he and Ron were together that day. He really leaned on Ron a lot, and I'll get into him a little bit. But when he showed up, he had Ron with him, and Brenda was pissed off. He was like, you can't, she was maybe shocked that he brought a friend. And was that the lure? Was she trying to get him there? But then all of a sudden she was like, oh, well, you can't come in. You have a friend with you. Like,
oh, so weird.
So like, what?
She wouldn't even let him see the kids?
Right.
Even if the friend stayed outside? That's so bizarre.
Just weird. It's just weird.
I can't believe there's people cheering for her right now. Like, I haven't even heard the rest of your story, but
I know.
I just can't believe it. I mean, I guess I can, but I can't.
I mean, when Rob died, they didn't just lose a parent, and I'm putting parent in quotations, right? They lost the man who was going to show up for them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets a dad like that.
Yeah.
And I think that pisses me off. Like, not everybody gets a fucking dad like that. That man was going to be their rock forever.
Yeah.
Fuck her, right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Ronnie Stump is his name. the friend. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. So Ron had known Rob since like the mid '80s. They became closer and closer over the years. So that this was his friend. This was his one friend. This is the friend that he talked about like deep stuff with. Like, this is the man who's gonna be the shoulder to cry on. Like, they were very, very good friends. And by 2001, Ron could see that life was really, really hard for Rob. I have to sneeze, but it won't come out. Like I said, the divorce was contentious. Custody fight was starting to escalate. The stress was constant. Rob leaned on Ron during all of this time. He confided in him, talked through fear and uncertainty, and Ron saw firsthand how much all of this was weighing on him. And he saw how worn down Rob was all the time. And then about a month before the murder, something happened that really changed everything. In October of 2001, Rob discovered that the brake lines in his car had been cut. And he could see that there was like a pool of... I know.
My support kitty. He's very upset.
He is. So he could see like a pool of stuff like underneath his car. And he was like, that's not good. And so he got his car to the mechanic, and the mechanic is like, holy shit, dude, that line's been cut. I know. And he was like, okay. So he calls 911. So no. He's at the mechanics.
Yeah.
And then he gets a phone call, and the caller on the other end is like, dude, your wife has been in an accident and you need to come to the hospital right now. And he was like, really? So he calls the hospital, and he's like, nope, nobody here by that name.
Good for him. You know, good for him.
So he calls 911, and the 911 dispatcher, she's like, 911, what's your emergency? And he's like, I'd like to report a crime. I think someone's trying to kill me because my brake lines were cut. And she was like, what? Like, like, what? And he was like, sounds like attempted murder to me. And she was like, yeah, like it was, he was so nice on the phone. And she was like, what? Like, you could just tell, like, this is, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Like, we don't normally get that call. We usually get
I don't really know how many people would have noticed their brake line had been cut. You know what I mean? Because I would never notice anything under my car because I just jump in my car and go. I wouldn't even notice if someone was in the back seat probably till I'm like down the road.
Don't tell people that, Ash.
Man, I don't care. Of all the cars, my car's not going to be the one they choose. I promise.
But
anyways,
look for those pools of liquid under your car, I guess. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
My ears hurt. Okay. So, brake line is cut. It's not worn down. It's not damaged. It's straight up. Like, there was a picture of it. It's like snip. Like, it is just a slice. Just clean slice. It is cut.
And he doesn't know who made the phone call to him.
No.
Okay.
So, I would say that's something that instantly changes the way you feel about your own life.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think that? Like, wow, someone just wanted me dead. How he didn't think it was his wife, I don't know. He probably just could not bring himself to think that.
Yeah.
He probably really, truly, honestly couldn't.
Yeah.
Around the same time, he started to get that phone call, and then it went into like, obviously it wanted him to move fast. And he was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This dude just told me that my brake lines are cut. Somebody is telling me I need to get to that. And so like his brain is thinking, this is not normal.
Yeah.
I need it. And he was so calm about it. But according to testimony later, Rob started telling people close to him that he was afraid, not just stressed, not just overwhelmed, but afraid. He even began looking into removing Brenda as the beneficiary on his insurance policy. And when you step back and look at that moment, it shifts the entire tone of the story. This wasn't a man going through a normal divorce anymore. This is a man who felt like something was wrong.
Yeah.
And he had told people that, you know, like, what do you and Brenda fight about? And he was like, well, we fight about the fact that I took her off the insurance policy. So like it was known. Louie, come here. Well,
Can you just say no?
He is just, come here. You just want attention. So come here. Okay. So, just days before, the murder now, Ron went with Rob to the house. He needed to retrieve some of his belongings. And, okay. So now, okay, from a month ago, we have the lines cut. He's telling friends and family he's scared, you know, he's a little worried, you know, here we are. And now we're, you know, just a few days before the murder. So like things kind of, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence, I guess.
Well, and I also think it's really unfortunate. A lot of times when it's a man saying someone's trying to kill him or something like, you know, I don't feel like he's as believed as if the woman said my ex-husband's trying to kill me. You know what I mean?
100%. 100%. Y'all, I'm uncomfortable. So if you hear me saying ow or moving around a lot, woo, I got some pains. So he wanted to retrieve some belongings, and given how tense things had become, he didn't want to go alone. And so, and that detail matters, I think, a great deal.
Yeah.
Really. Because it tells you how uneasy he felt, number one. And when they got there, things did not go well. He had asked for his 16 gauge shotgun. Brenda would not give it to him. Brenda would not let them inside. What should have been a simple stop was, you know, a simple errand to go pick up things. It just became a very tense confrontation, and Ron had seen all of that. Emotions were high. The situation was uncomfortable. It was volatile. You could see the strain, Ron said. You could see the strain. It was heavy. It was a heavy moment. And you could see how broken everything had become. Ron did not have a whole lot of nice things to say about Brenda. Like, he really didn't feel like the marriage was ever very even in the love department. You know, like he knew that Rob loved Brenda, but he didn't feel the same way, like vice versa. He never really felt that. This was a man who had just found his brake lines cut, who was receiving strange phone calls, who he wasn't allowed to see his kids. Like he didn't even get that chance to even say goodbye to his kids. He couldn't even go into his own home. And it stuck with Ron, you know, that day. So when he spoke to investigators, boy, he had a lot to tell them. And then just a couple days later, he was back again, and this was just before Thanksgiving, and he was going to pick up the kids, and he was talking to Ron on the phone, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm picking up the kids, and I'm gonna take them over to the family." He was really excited to spend some quality time with those kiddos and take them over to his family's house and do the fun and the food and the feasting and all of that. And he pulled up into the driveway. And this time Ron wasn't there. He pulled up into the driveway and he said, "I'm going to let you go. I'll call you later. They're coming out." And that was, how they hung up that phone call. When the garage door opened, Brenda was in the garage, and she said that the light on the hot water heater had gone out, and she needed his help to light it. So when he went to go do that, she said that a couple of masked intruders came into the open garage and shot him in the neck and in the stomach.
And then just left.
And then shot her in the arm. And then left. Oh. She told 911 She told 911 that Rob was still alive. So she went in, got the phone, and they're like, is your husband still alive? And she said yes. And so they're like, who shot you? She was like, I don't know. But she was like, we've both been shot. I'm hurt. But almost immediately investigators started questioning the story. Not because there was anything taken, because there wasn't. And there were no clear signs of a robbery. But because as they dug deeper, they started to shift their focus closer to home. They could tell that he was a really liked guy, and there really wasn't anybody who said one bad thing about him. But they started to learn about the affair with James. They learned about the enormous life insurance policy. And they learned about the impending divorce, separation of divorce. They couldn't find the weapon, either of them. Because Brenda had been shot with a .22.
Oh, okay. I was like, what do you mean?
A much smaller gun.
Shocking, really.
So that if you, so they have her sweater, and it would have had to have been shot from like an inch of from like 2 inches away, because the sweater almost had like a burn mark on it. And it's like such a clear circle, almost like it got singed. And then the black marks are like this. So it wasn't like black,
yeah, it wasn't like from a distance.
It wasn't from a distance. It was all very close into that. And so they think that she had her arm out like this, and she had her head turned away. And then just her boyfriend just like shot her on her clothes, because it went straight through, clean through. And so no major damage. Had she been shot with a 16 like he was, that might have probably taken her arm off.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said unfortunate.
I know. But when they also looked at her clothes, of course, she had her own blood on them. But what they discovered was that his blood was also on her, but like deep in the fabric, as though so it was like a couple of these little tiny dots, not like she soaked by touching him. It would have had to have been splatter from a very close range.
What you don't say.
And
I need Kevin, like a physical Kevin over here.
Here, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on one more time. So like this little tiny splatter of his blood, which means that she wasn't running away from him. She was close by when he was shot, which made them think she's probably the one that shot him. And it was with a 16 gauge shotgun, and they never recovered that gun. They've never been able to recover it.
Convenient that he owned one, though, right? And then she's trying to say the intruders just haven't had the same kind of gun. Mm-hmm. And his can't be found, and they took off.
He owned it, and she wouldn't give it back to him.
Got it. Okay.
And he had a bag, like a recycling bag of like cans.
Yeah.
And he was holding onto it. So he might have grabbed it to shield himself. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, but so it was still on him when the police got there. What a piece of shit. So then the moment that changed everything. So as people are asking questions and as, you know, people are sitting down with the church community, the work community, just everybody who is kind of like in their circle, they start hearing about all this stuff. Well, they start to realize that this guy who was also a Sunday school teacher, well, that he and Brenda were having an affair. And now where are they? And where are the kids? And it's the funeral. And where is everybody? Oh, they're fleeing to Mexico. And, oh, there's a fake note from Rob saying that this man could go to Mexico with his children. The fuck you say? So they forged this fucking note.
Like he's fucking dead, and I don't like. They're saying
he pre-signed it. He pre-signed it,
and they were still gonna go to Mexico after his death.
Yeah.
Okay. I just feel like they had so much time to come up with a better lie than what they came up with.
Well,
like the whole thing.
They were
start to finish.
Remember what I told you about the insurance policy being changed out?
Yeah.
They changed it back.
Oh my God, you don't say.
So they're like, let's look at that signature one more time. Like, let's just look at his signature. So this for rent and this thank you for
like your stories. Go on, I'm sorry.
So this forensic what are those people called? Forensic handwriting specialists, analysts. I said there were extra letters in there. He was like, well, if you look at Rob's signature over the years, it changed. And as he became more and more, my hips hurt so bad. I'm sorry. I'm like looking at her. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even talk right now. So as he becomes more and more like, I don't know, a Christian, he's very Christian to begin with, but as it becomes more and more devoted to his faith, he starts putting in that fish symbol. Oh, so he's like, it's Rob Andrew and it's kind of a squiggle, but he added that fish. He adds that little, and it's just right there at the end. It's almost like just a little dot, to him, but it's just, and sure shooting, it's there. Like over the year, you just see it. And he's like, I'm watching his signature become, it's always this now. It went from not having that to always that. And then Brenda, you can tell it's a woman's handwriting. But she got everything right except for the fish. You could also tell it wasn't his hand, like it wasn't 100%. But she didn't notice the fish. She never noticed that. Or didn't think it was important or whatever, but she didn't add it. And that's how they were able to go like, it's a fake. It's a fraud. So they fled. They left the children months.
They left the children?
No. They left with the children.
Oh, I thought you were saying they left the children.
They were arrested near the Mexican border. They were in Nuevo Laredo. And to investigators, obviously guilty as fuck, but to the investigators and eventually the jury, that didn't look so good. Did not look good.
Did the children know what happened to their father? Like, did they know he had died?
I mean, eventually, I'm sure they knew that he died. Not the night of.
Yeah.
They were upstairs watching TV when the cops came in to find them.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was curious. Like, if they knew when they were fleeing to Mexico, if they were fleeing because their father was dead.
They were probably told they were going on vacation to, let's just not think about. Let's do something fun, and they were probably told whatever. I don't know how they got them out of the house, but I'm sure they realized their dad was dead. prosecutors argued that all of this was planned. This whole murder was planned. They said James Pavat was the shooter and Brenda helped orchestrate it so they could be together and collect the insurance money. They pointed to the affair, the financial motive, the failing marriage, obviously the timeline. Both Brenda Andrew and James Pavat were convicted and both were sentenced to death. And Brenda became the only woman on death row in Oklahoma. Now, one of the things and one of the little key pieces of evidence I thought was like A, spooky, and B, like to me is one of like the biggest indicators that it indeed happened next door, like literally it was the person next door to you. The next door neighbor was on vacation and their son, Jeff, had come over the morning after the murder and came in and listened to some of the voicemails that were on his parents' recorder, and it was by people just calling, "Hey, just checking on you, wondering if everything is okay over there. See your guys' street on the news and blah 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 blah." So he's learning about the murder that happened next door, and he comes in, picks up a couple of things, and then he leaves. Right. When his parents got home, some days later, they cut their trip short. When they get home, mom goes up into her bedroom and she sees that something in her closet, there was a shoe holder, a shoe rack that was not there. And all of the shoes were taken off. And so they were just kind of messy on the floor in the middle of her closet. And then they found it broken underneath the bed. And then she was like, huh. And the bed kind of like the corner of the bed was like down, like it looked broken.
Yeah.
And so she's like, what is going on? And so she's like thinking it was probably her son. And so she goes into the guest bedroom and she sees a 16 gauge shotgun shell just standing up on the floor by the closet. Just the door open and then she was like, holy shit. And sure enough, that's a same caliber gun. They don't own a 16 caliber gun. And that they think that after the shooting, that's where they hid out. That's where James hid out. And that he was in the house when Jeff showed up the next morning.
Oh my God.
And that he was upstairs hiding in that closet and maybe dropped that bullet.
Thank goodness he didn't
and that he did not go upstairs.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that creepy? But that's not... How would they get... There was no sign of forced entry into that home.
Well, they probably, people kept a key somewhere or...
Your next door neighbor might have known where you kept the key.
Yeah.
To check on your house when you aren't home. So...
I mean, and to be honest, sometimes people do accidentally forget to lock the doors. Maybe the son... he would have been in there before the son. Yeah.
He was in there before the son. The son had an airtight alibi because, of course, he was. But they were like, "What's the motive?" He had no motive.
Yeah.
There's no motive, and he was at home with his family, his wife and family the night before, and he'd only gone over there that other next day, and he was only there for a brief moment. Saw his parents had voicemails, checked them, and then that was it. Anyway. The controversy. Let's talk about that. So yes, they're both sentenced to death. Now the controversy. The trial didn't exactly just focus on the crime. And when I say it didn't just focus on the crime, it didn't even just focus on the affair or the crime or the financial payout, right? They didn't just focus on those obvious facts. It focused heavily on Brenda as a person. And they focused on her relationships. they focused on her wardrobe, her appearance. They focused on her behavior. They focused on her past. And I think that unlike other, and correct me if I'm wrong, sometimes they don't even allow people to bring up past rapes into court cases. Oh, because it has nothing to do with this crime.
Yeah.
I think we've covered many of those.
Right.
Like they couldn't talk about that, but they talked about things that she wore. They took out her underwear in court and look at this man thought she was a flirt, so she must have killed her husband. They really put people on the stand who just were like, she was flirting with men. When to me, I agree to that extent that, like, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Anyway.
I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't have just used the actual facts, because those are worse than anything than she was fucking wearing.
Right. So they were judging her for who she was. So this comes from, and I'm not shitting you, this is an actual website, SaveBrendaAndrew.org. So this comes from that website.
I don't care.
Brenda Andrew was condemned to die in Oklahoma City after a 2004 trial in which prosecutors referred to her as a slut puppy. Sorry, I'm going to have to read this. As a slut puppy. I'm just going to... I think I may use that for other things. Paraded her underwear before the jury and berated her for her mothering skills. These unconstitutional tactics bore no relation to the crime Brenda had been accused of committing and of which she has always maintained her innocence, the murder of her husband, Robert Andrew. So why did the prosecution do it? The offense bore few hallmarks of a capital case, and Brenda had no criminal record, but by taking every opportunity to demonize Brenda's appearance, demeanor, sexual history, and motherhood, the prosecution stripped Brenda of her very identity as a woman and argued that her gender transgressions should be punishable by death. So prosecutors further dehumanized Brenda before the jury by attacking her value as a mother and homemaker. Blah, blah, blah. Throughout the trial, prosecutors repeatedly vilified Brenda for her gender expression, including her clothing and demeanor. I'm having a hot flash. Prosecutors produced male witnesses who testified that Brenda was improper, sexy, and wore provocative clothing. One man testified that Brenda once wore a dress that was tight, short, and showed, quote, lots of cleavage. Prosecutors further dehumanized Brenda before the jury by attacking her value as a mother and homemaker. They elicited irrelevant witness testimony that Brenda's home was filthy, unkept, and shocking. The prosecutors also weaponized gender-based stereotypes to compare Brenda to normal women, asking one witness no fewer than 9 times about what a good mother would do and whether Brenda failed in this regard. Now, that's the kind of shit that pisses me off, too. And if there were no other legitimate pieces of evidence, 100% I would be on that front line fighting for her.
I just don't understand why they took this direction with it, because it wasn't like a sexual case of any kind. First of all, and secondly,
well, she was having lots of affairs.
Yeah, but I mean,
and he wasn't the first one,
right? But I mean, her affair, like her dressing or whatever. Yes, her affairs played a part, but that's not. Why are we not talking about the murder? She called him over there into the garage, had a bullshit story, faked the lie. I don't understand why those things alone didn't just sell the jury. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. I understand talking about her as a person so people know how shitty she is, but I don't understand the whole lingerie, like showing her underwear and all that kind of stuff.
Like, why? Yes, why? I just don't, I don't understand. And I think that it went to appeal. And one of the reasons why Cindy had even mentioned to us to do the story, she knew somebody else who had known her, but she's just lost her appeal, and that was in January, just this last January, and she had lost the appeal, and they said basically, in this opinion, the judge conceded, and this is coming from, I'm sorry, KOCO in News 5. It's an ABC affiliate in Oklahoma City. And it says, oh shit, I just lost my little... In this opinion, the judge conceded that some of the sexual evidence brought forward against Miss Andrew in trial may have been improper or inflammatory. However, they concluded the rest of the evidence against her was so overwhelming that they just simply could not say that the jury rendered its verdict because of the demonization of her sexuality by the prosecution in the trial. Which I think, yes, they said exactly what we're saying here. All of the evidence, everything put together. She was telling friends the day before when the puppy incident happened. She told her friend, I hate him. I just hate him. Like the vitriol coming from this woman about the man who was the father of her children, who did nothing to her.
Oh my God, she looks so like...
weird, right?
It's not that she looks weird. It's just she looks so much like your girl. Like... very would blend in. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how to describe it. This is just not what I was expecting her to look like. That's all.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that she's smiling in her mugshots just pisses me off. She's like grinning ear to ear. If you guys don't look at her mugshot, just so happy about it.
There's a couple of them, but yeah, she doesn't. There's not a whole lot of remorse. And then the man. Who does she look like?
Her?
Uh-huh.
I don't know who she looks like.
Oh, okay. You said she looks like your...
I just said like she would just be your everyday average person next. Like, yeah, you wouldn't look at her and suspect a thing, is all I'm saying.
Yes. Like, she's pretty. There's nothing, like, outstanding... right? There's nothing that's like, oh my gosh, like that is a stunner. You know, she's just like a very normal,
I guess it meant more like
pretty girl.
Sometimes you look at people and you can just look at them and just feel the evil, or like their eyes look, you know, like there's no light. Like you can just tell by looking at certain people we've talked about. But with her, she just looks normal.
To me, she looks vacant, and that's scary.
Well, I guess it depends on what you look at. Because like some of them, she's just smiling and she just looks normal.
I don't know.
Anyways, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. She fucking cut brake lines. just really, just the whole thing. Anyway, so, and that has become, so all of that has become the biggest legal debate of the case, right? And I get all of that. I get what her supporters are saying. I really do. Because, I mean, listen, y'all know me. I would fucking be that cheerleader for her. But there was so much other evidence. If you look at all of the other evidence, it leaves no question. It just, honestly, it doesn't. She fucking fled to Mexico.
Yeah.
She did not attend the funeral. That is not the actions of an innocent person. It's just not. It's just not. So bringing it back to Rob. God, I'm mad now. See? God. Here's what I keep coming back to. In the middle of all the legal arguments, the appeals, the documentaries, the headlines, whatever. It was on forensic files, everything, right? There was a man who walked into his fucking garage and never came back out. He never got to say goodbye to his kids. He didn't get to finish raising his kids. A friend who told someone he was scared. A man who believed something was going to happen to him. When he left the house with Ron that night, when Ron was with them, he said, you know, it just feels like I've got a gun on me all the time. That's what he told Ron that night as they were leaving that house. I feel like someone's got a gun on me all the time. He knew something was going to happen to him.
I mean, look at him. He just...
Doesn't he look like John Ritter's brother?
Yeah.
God, he does.
He just looks like a genuinely good person. Like, I don't know.
He was. He was a man who knew something bad was going to happen to him, and then it did. And we all have to take that shit seriously. We all have to take the fear of somebody seriously. We just have to.
Yeah.
No matter how powerful or wealthy or whatever, if someone is like, I'm scared, then we need to do everything that we can.
Yeah.
And believe them. And especially for men who think that they can't be hurt because she's 5 foot nothing, you know, or whatever. Like he knew something was going to happen to him. And that's the heartbreaking part. They can't have it predicted how, but it could have been something. And we just, like, as a society, we just have to do better.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's my story. Goddamn.
Well, I don't know how I'm going to follow that up. And I didn't like it. And when is she being executed? Is that soon? Can we attend?
Well,
Can we take a case files trip?
I would do it.
I know.
I would do it. I mean, not stand out there.
Yeah.
Stand out there.
Anyways, I can't believe people are trying to save her. I really can't believe people are like, you know what? She sounds like she was framed.
They're getting caught up in this one thing.
Yeah.
It's not one thing. Yes, they said many shitty things. They did go off the rails in their argument. That wasn't it.
Yeah.
Y'all are forgetting all of the other shit.
Yeah. I'm all for people fighting against the sex shaming, whatever. But she fucking murdered her husband. Very obviously. I don't get it, but yeah, it's not for me to get, I guess. I could never serve on a jury.
I would be like, I would have laughed my at what? Oh, is this your argument? What? No, get out of here. Go home.
Yeah.
Go home. You're drunk. But yeah. Anyway, so that's it. That's my story.
Okay, well,
we'll see you next week. I'm mad. I gotta go have another drink now.
I don't even know what to say. I don't know.
I'm having a hot flash. I'm in pain and I'm pissed off. So it is such a good position to be in right now. Oh.
Okay,
well. Okay. Happy anniversary.
Thanks.
We'll see you next week, y'all. You're not coming back? All right.
Anyways.
We'll see you next week. Until then, see something.
Say something.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.